Very good morning, children. How are you doing? Yeah, welcome to session 1. And today we are going to deal with a new lesson, that is challenges in improving agricultural produce. Right? Already in the 8th class, you studied about this lesson, that is agricultural operations. Right? And here in the 9th class, we're going to get what are the problems we get in producing agricultural products and how to avoid and how to overcome such kind of challenges, right? Now, so here in our daily life we need different types of food materials. And along with them we also need some seeds or grains like say there's a wheat, rice, dal, okay, like this. And even we need different varieties for leafy vegetables, like say this spinach, then menthe, like this. And of course some vegetables like potato, tomato, onions, like this. In addition, non-veg items like say this meat, fish, eggs, milk, like this. For example, take this milk. Daily we need this milk, okay, from morning to night, right? And naturally for us, but along with those, our domestic animals diet. Domestic animals means, you know, we are raiding some animals like say this dog, cats, and in case of villages we can find say this goat, sheep, cattle, and all these things, right? So even their food, when we observe their food habits, even for the food of those domestic animals also, that means we are depending on what? We are depending on plants. If you carefully observe all these food materials, say these are seeds, grains, vegetables, fruits, leafy vegetables, and all these things are, say, even animals, they need what do you call their food? Their food is called fodder, right? So all these things basically we get from where? We get from plants. We get from plants. Okay. Say for example, there is a family with the four members, parents and two children, and they need 50 kgs of rice per month. Then automatically per year we can say 600 kgs. 600 kgs per year. So in order to cultivate 600 kgs of rice, so how much of land area we need means it's about 1.4 square kilometers. Square kilometers means a length and a width of that area should be 1.4 kilometers. Okay, so that is called 1.4 square kilometers. That means in order to get 600 kgs of rice, we need how much of land area? That is 1.4 square kilometers. If the family members increases, say for example they get married and they got children like this, okay, then what happens? Automatically the number of family members increases. When the number increases, then automatically what happens? Food requirements also increases. So here per year they need 600 kgs, but whenever the population, the number increases to 6 members, then automatically what happens? It may be increased to 900 kgs. 900 kgs. So automatically when when the number of family members increase, then the amount of food needed by them also increases. But whenever that amount of food is not able to produce, then what happens? Then they cannot get sufficient amount of food. Okay, then what do you call that condition? That condition can be called as a food crisis. Food crisis. What is meant by crisis? Crisis means non-availability. Got it? Say for example, when there is no land at all to grow the plants or to grow this food materials, then even though we have money, you cannot get the food. Then ultimately that condition leads to food crisis. Got it? So, but whenever we observe the population of our country, every year the population is going on increasing rapidly, very, very rapidly. But can you say that along with this population, the food production also increasing? Now, here the population is increasing, but say the amount of food produced from this agricultural lands is decreasing. Okay, that's why every year we're getting a more hike in rate of the vegetables, say this food grains like this. That means cost increases. When it demand increases, then automatically cost also increases. Got it? Okay. Now, observe this table very carefully. Here we can find a decade. That is 1961 to 71, 71 to 81, 81 to 91, 91 to 2001, and 2001 to 2011. And then in second row, we can find a population growth, which is represented by PG. And then food grain production on third row, there is FP. And ratio, how we can measure this ratio means amount of a food production by population growth. Correct. If you carefully observe this table, we get some idea. Okay, but based on that, now let's see this questions. So in which decade population growth is higher? Population growth, in which year we can find a more population? So here 2.23. In which decade that is? Yeah, 1971 to 81. So in 1971 to 81, this population growth is very high. Okay. Then in which decade food grain production is higher? Observe this. So where? So we can find the 2.8, 1.8, 3.13, right? So here 3.13. Where? In which decade that is? 1981 to 1991, right? Okay. Then what major difference did you find in this table? Means when you observe this fourth one, that is 1991, here this ratio is very, very less. Very, very less in the decade 1991 to 2001. Then is the food grain production is increasing according to population growth? Is it right? Now, here the population is increasing, but proportionally the amount of food production is not increasing. Okay. Then next one, in which decade production of food not satisfied the needs of population? What's the result? Means the same. There is in fourth one, 1991 to 2001. Here we can find what? There is a population is very, very high, and the food grain production is very, very less. And here ratio is 0.56, very, very less. Then ultimately what is the result? The result will be food crisis. Correct. Okay. The last question. What can you infer when a population growth was the highest? When a population growth was the highest, then ultimately what happens? Then food grain production will be less, and so that leads to which condition? Yeah, that condition leads to food crisis. Food crisis. Good. Now, apart from this, human beings, so other living creatures means like say our domestic animals, and the next wild animals. Wild animals means, what are wild animals? Don't think that a tiger, lion like this. Wild animals means the animals which are living on their own without depending on humans. That is called as wild animals. So even wild animals are also need their food materials. Okay. So we need to provide different types of food items, like say this fodder, then the grains, vegetables, then the leafy vegetables, like this. Okay. Suppose we want a plant. We plant a wheat crop, and the plant is growing very nice and healthy. But think that it has no grains. It has no grains. Every part is very good. But now, can you call that as a good crop? No. So here, increasing food production means whatever the part we are using as a food from the plant, that part must be grown well. Must be grown well. So, for example, if we are growing rice here, rice, the grains the production should be well. Correct. But if the root system and the next the leaves and shoot system is good and grains are not produced, can you call that as a good one? No. So, which part we need from the rice plant? Grains. So, when the grains are producing well, then only we can say it is good. So, how and when we get a good crop means to get a good crop, the plants need different types of factors, not a single factor, but a combination of several factors. Like say this kind of seeds planted, seeds. Seed is a very important factor. It is like a foundation to the house. So why means the whole agriculture depends on a seed. When the seed is healthy, then automatically we get a healthy crop, right? And what's the next one? Soil properties. Soil properties means the soil condition should be good. Okay, when the soil is rich in the minerals, okay, then only we can get a good production from that soil. Then availability and the proper application of water. Then what's the next one? Irrigation. When that agricultural land is having a sufficient amount of water, and when we are able to supply the water in time to time, then only we get good production. And then fertilizer. Even from time to time we must know which fertilizers we have to add to the crop. Okay, then that to me in how much amount, like this. Okay, even when we add a more amount of fertilizers, even that also leads to some drastic conditions, right? The next, weather is also very important, right? Today when you observe this coastal areas, say this coastal areas, and also this East Godavari, West Godavari, like this, there we can find much floods, and due to these floods, many agriculture fields gets destroyed. So weather is very important. And what's the next one? Control of insect attacks. From time to time, say there's a crop will be affected, or will be attacked by different varieties of microorganisms like insects, then a pest, bacteria, fungi, like these things. So what you have to do, according to the type of microorganism, the farmer has to control all these attacks. Okay, by using different types of chemicals. Okay, and what's the next one? The weed control. Weed. This is also very important. Weed. What is meant by weed? Yeah, kalupu. We call that as kalupu in Telugu. So weed removal means the unwanted plants which are growing along with the crop plants. Now and then, if you carefully observe the farmers, they go to these fields and they are removing some plants. Have you seen? So what are they? They are said to be weeds, right? Okay, and weed removal is also very important. So in this way, these are very important factors and which completely control this production of food from agriculture. Okay, now here observe this table very carefully. So here we can find a method, production, and the grain. So what is the first method? Type of planting. When we are starting this agriculture, a month after the onset of rains. Then immediately after the onset of rains. So when we take the first one, after 1 month of raining, we started this agriculture. Then how much amount of food we got? That is 3,400. But in another field where agriculture was started immediately after raining, we got what? We got 5,830 kgs per hectare. So what is the difference? The difference is 2,430 kgs. So here this is a time gap of 1 month, because of that also we can get a great difference in the production of food. Then what's the next one? Density of planting. Density, what is meant by density? Means number of plants were growing in a 1 acre or a hectare like this. Correct. So plants per hectare, that is 39,600. Then we got 4,100 kgs. But when we grow how many plants? That is 19,800. Here we got 5,130. If you carefully observe these two, here the number of plants are almost half. So in the first case, we can find 39,600, means around 40,000. But in the second case, we can find half, that is 20,000. Here, the plants number is half, plants number is less, but even then, here the production is more. Okay, so because of this over number of plants also, we cannot get a good production of food. So here what is the difference? 1,030. Then a weeding. When a weeding is done once, we got a 4,040, and then 2 times here we got a 5,200. The difference is 1,160. Then without phosphorus, this amount, and with the 56 kgs of phosphorus, we got how much difference? There is 90 kgs. And without nitrogen and 78 kgs of nitrogen, here we got much difference, that is 620 kgs. Alright. So if we carefully observe this table, we can find what is the effect of different types of factors on agriculture. Okay, that's why. So the farmer must have the knowledge when each and every agriculture activity has to be done and how, like this. Then only we get a proper increase in food production. Got it? Right. How to increase the food production? So when now we get the question how to increase the food production, we can get some points. What's the first one? Increasing the area of agricultural land. So for example, there are 10 acres of land, and from 10 acres of land we are getting 20 bags. Where, say for example, we are getting 200 bags. From 10 acres we are getting 200 bags of rice. So when you want to get 400 bags of rice, then what you have to do? Then ultimately the land should be increased. When 20 acres, instead of 20 acres, if we use 20 acres of land, then ultimately we get 400 bags of grains. Correct. So this is the first one. Then the second one, increasing the production from the existing land. So in this method, without increasing the land, that means from the same 10 acres of land, by using good methods like selecting a good seed, the next good application of fertilizers, by using proper de-weeding methods, and say there's a proper irrigation techniques, we can increase more amount of food from the same agriculture field. Correct. Then developing high yielding varieties. See, what is meant by high yielding varieties? Means hybrids. Nowadays, almost all the farmers are using hybrids. Why? the quality and the quantity will be good, like that. Then alternative crops. What is meant by alternative crops? Alternative means a changing. Here, say for example, now this year we grown rice. Then the crop is over. But after the completion of this rice, the farmer should not grow the same rice, same crop. There is rice. Rice should not be grown. Instead of rice, we must go for the other one. Say for example, groundnut. And after groundnut, again, if you want, you can go for rice or you can change. Alright. So here, what is the condition means? Same crop should not be grown in the same field in successive seasons. Successive seasons means continuously we should not grow the same crop. For example, while you are coming from RPP to Pridhutur, on either side of the road we can find agriculture fields. Have you observed those agriculture fields any way, any time? So always those farmers are growing rice. Why? Why means because of a demand, but there is not at all good method, right? And what's the next one? Mixed crop. Mixed crop means, just observe this. Can you find whether here in this picture, can you find there is only one type of plant or many types? Yeah, here we can find many types. So here, when we grow different varieties of crops in the same field at a time, then we call that as a mixed crop. Mixed crop. Then cultivating short-term crops like Rabi. In in the 8th class, I already studied about two types of crops: short-term crops and also long-term crops. When the crops need more than 180 days, then we call that as a short-term crops. Okay, so these are the various methods to increase food production. Alright, so here when we take this short-term crops produce more grains than long-term crops. Okay, that's why it is better to go for the short-term crops. And even alternative crops preserves soil fertility. Just now I told you, rice, after growing the rice, if you go for say this groundnut, then what happens? Now, groundnut improves soil fertility by increasing what? By increasing nitrogen content. Nitrogen content. In their root systems, we can find a bacteria. What is that? Yeah, there is rhizobium. And this rhizobium can improve the nitrogen content in the soil. And what's the next one? Mixed crops help to produce a variety of crops and increase productivity. Alright. So these are the advantages of these methods. But finally, which are said to be the best methods to improve food production means the first one, improving high yielding varieties. Improving high yielding varieties means whenever we create different varieties of hybrids, and when we use these hybrid plants, then automatically we get more production. Then using high yielding management methods. High yielding management methods means say for example irrigation. In irrigation we can find normal methods like using motor and a pump set. What we do? We pump the water to the field. That is the old and traditional method in India. But what is the advanced method here? Yeah, there is a micro irrigation. When we go for drip irrigation, have you seen this? Yeah, drip irrigation or a sprinkler irrigation. This is a proper management methods. Right? Okay, then we can also say this biopesticides. Biopesticides means instead of using this chemicals like insecticide, pesticides like this, if you go for biopesticides, then we can get good production. So in this way, by using high yielding management methods also, we can improve the food production. What's the last one? There is a crop protection method. Crop protection methods means how to preserve these food materials. So for example, we got 200 bags of rice. And can you use all that 200 bags of rice by your own family? No. That means we separate 10 bags for our own purpose, and then remaining bags, what we do? Yeah, we sell them. Okay, but when the marketing is not good, then what we do? We store them. We store them, and then when there is a great demand, then we sell that. But while we're storing, we should be very, very careful. Otherwise, what happens? All these grains will be spoiled by these microorganisms and rats like this, and so there will be total loss. Correct. So these are the three ways how to improve this food production. Okay. Then here, let's see the first one, improving high yielding varieties. If you carefully observe this picture, we can find two things, right? What are they? Say this, when we take this, what is this? They are yellow in color and yellow and small in size. And these also to be hybrid varieties. And when now we take the second one, it is white in color and larger in size. Large in size actually. So when now we observe this picture, we can say that there's a hybrid variety which is white in color and large. These are to be hybrid ones. So when now we use these hybrid varieties, then automatically we can improve this food production. Clear? Then the next one, say this is one experiment. So for example, there are two fields, 1 acre and 1 acre. And to 1 acre of a field, for the first one, we supplied water, and to the second one, no water. Correct. Okay. Now, both the fields are applied with the same amount of nitrogen. Then, what will be the difference in these two fields? Means, here if you carefully observe this graph, the blue colored one here, see? Blue one. Which one is a higher? Yeah, blue. That is a sufficient supply of water. There you can find more than the second one. So from this, what you can see, there is a relationship between water and say this fertilizer. When water is available, then only see the plant is able to utilize that fertilizer. But in a second one, we are not supplying water, so the plant cannot get that fertilizer. Okay, that's why we can say from this. So if you want to supply fertilizer to the plants, nutrients to the soil or a plant, there should be sufficient amount of water. Correct. Then the next one, what does the plant do with the water? That means in which way water is useful to the plant. Means, so here already we learned that in a plant body we can find different types of parts. When we take the base, at the base we can find root system, the next shoot. In the shoot we can find a stem, then branches, then leaves, flowers, fruits, like this. So here each and every part is having a particular function. What is the function of roots? Yeah, roots are useful to absorb water and the nutrients from the soil, and of course at the same time it also make the plant to fix in the soil. Correct. Now here, in our lower classes you studied about one process. Now the plants use what? Plants use the water, then carbon dioxide, and in the presence of sunlight, by using a substance. What is that substance? No. What is the color of leaves? Yeah, green. Why they are green? Yeah, very good. Chlorophyll. So this chlorophyll, what it do? It adds this water and carbon dioxide in the presence of sunlight, and produce what? And produce a food material, that is a starch. What do you call the process? Yeah, that process can be called as a photosynthesis. Very good. Photosynthesis. This is the only process which is providing the food materials to this whole planet. Correct. So according to one experiment, say 100 grams of water combines with 260 grams of carbon dioxide and produce 180 grams of carbohydrates. So here 100 grams and 260 grams. Total how much? 360. 360. Here we are getting how much of product? 180 means half amount of production we are getting. Alright? And even whenever you may think that, so if we supply more and more water to the plant, then automatically the plant will grow well. But that is not right. How much amount of water we are supplying, in that water, the plant uses very, very less amount of water for its activities. How much? That means only 0.01%. 0.1%. And whatever the remaining water means, that water will be evaporated. That water is evaporated. And what do you call that process? Yeah, there is a transpiration. So for example, if a plant absorbs 1 liter of water, in that the plant will use only 1 ml of water. 1 ml of water for a photosynthesis, and the remaining 999 ml of water is transpirated through leaves. And what do you call that holes present in the leaves? Yeah, very good. That is a stomata. Okay. So this is it. And with this, here we can find one thing. So if we tie a polythene cover to a leaf, okay, say for example, your father went to this market and he bought different types of vegetables and even this leafy vegetables. So when your mother is storing these leafy vegetables, how she put that? Yeah, whether she simply thrown them in the fridge? No. Whenever we take these leafy vegetables, we put these leafy vegetables in a polythene cover and then we put them in a fridge. Say, that means here we are covering the leaves with the polythene cover. So after few hours or by the next day, if you observe that polythene cover, can you find any change? Yeah, what is that? That means inside this polythene cover, we can find some droplets of water. How we got that water? Yeah, that is because of transpiration. So from this simple activity, we can prove that, say, this transpiration takes place through leaves, or we can say the water is eliminated to outside with the help of a stomata. Correctly? Okay, and with this, we come to the end of this session. Thank you and have a nice day.